Animation is something we see every day. We see it in movies,
Buzz Lightyear at your
the
service.
internet, TV, and even when we use a phone. But where did it all come from? Whose idea was it to trick our eyes into seeing simple drawings come to life? As it turns out, many people believe that animation began with an optical illusion. In 1826, Dr. John A. Paris invented the thaumatrope. This was a toy that had two different drawings on each side of a flat piece of material. This material had strings attached to it so that when you pulled them, the piece in the middle would flip, creating an optical illusion. However, drawings did not really come to life until the invention of the phenakistoscope by Dr. Joseph Antoine Plateau in 1831. The phenakistoscope was a round disc that had been divided into equal windows. Each window contained a drawing that was part of a sequence. There were also slots cut into the disc. The idea was that if you held the disc up to a mirror and rotated it at the right speed, you would be able to look through the slots and see a short animation. In 1834, another method of bringing drawings to life was invented by W.G. Horner. It was called the zoetrope. This was another wheel that you could spin, but it would lay flat, and you would look down on it to see the animation. Though this invention was created in 1834, it did not reach America until 1867. Shortly after, the kineograph, or the flip book, was created in 1868 by John Barnes Linnet. This broke artists free from presenting their work on a wheel and let them create animations that could last longer. With all these inventions, it was only a matter of time before a photographer would want to get in on the action. And he did. His name was Edward Muybridge, and he created a system that could photograph animals in motion. One of his main supporters was Leland Stanford, a man who at one time had been governor of California. Legend has it, Stanford had placed a bet with someone that when a horse galloped, all four of its feet left the ground. Through Muybridge's camera system, he was able to catch a horse galloping at full speed. He discovered that all of the horse's feet left the ground for a split second as it galloped. He also created the Zoopraxiscope in 1879. This was a projector that used spinning discs to show animation and was an inspiration to Thomas Edison later on. Muybridge's work marks the beginning of the motion picture. Over time, people came out with more inventions to slightly improve earlier ones. Film was created to replace the wheels and flip books. And then, in 1889, the laboratory of Thomas Edison announced the invention of the kinetoscope. This invention could project 50 feet of film in 13 seconds, and after many revisions, it came to be known as the film projector we still sometimes see today. Although, digital projectors are now considered to be the standard. With such a great invention, artists and photographers were able to take their work to new heights and develop new animation techniques. In 1906, J. Stuart Blackton used stop-motion animation techniques with a blackboard to create the first animated film called Humorous Phases of Funny Faces. Then other artists started making their own animations as cameras and techniques evolved. In 1915, John Bray patented the process of cell animation. This was a new technique where artists drew on clear sheets of celluloid. This made it possible to animate without having to redraw the background for every frame. This process evolved to be the most popular form of animation for many years. In 1928, Walt Disney produced the first cell animation that was synced with sound, entitled Steamboat Willie. It starred the famous cartoon character Mickey Mouse. At the same time, other production houses such as Warner Brothers and Fleischer Studios created cartoons as well. Walt Disney made history again in 1937. He spent $1.5 million to create the first American full-length animated movie. It was called Snow White. Animation continued this way throughout the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Until one day, a man named Ivan Sutherland created Sketchpad at MIT in 1963. This program made it possible for humans to interact with a computer by drawing objects with a special pen and then use the computer to manipulate those objects even further. Almost a decade later, in 1972, Fred Park created the first computer-based facial animation at the University of Utah. With all of these advances in computer technology, it was only a matter of time until a movie based in computer graphics would be released. And Disney's Tron was the first to accomplish this goal in 1982. As computer animation evolved even more, companies started producing short animations to test out their developments. For example, in 1987, John Lasseter of Pixar published a paper about the use of traditional animation techniques in the 3D environment. Pixar produced the animated shorts Andre and Wally B, as well as Luxo Jr., to demonstrate the points talked about in Lasseter's paper. By 1993, computer animation had gotten so realistic that Steven Spielberg used it to create the dinosaurs in his movie Jurassic Park. And then, 2 years later, in 1995, Pixar Studios released the first full-length 3D animated movie, Toy Story.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me?
From that point on, people have been experimenting with technology and animation to see not only what they can create, but how they can create it faster. For example, motion capture data helps create more accurate animations faster. One of the most recent examples of motion capture's significance is in the facial animation of Avatar. James Cameron used facial motion capture in his movie to help portray human emotion more accurately. So as you can see, animation has been around for quite a long time. Who knew that rotating wheels and flip books would lead us to imaginary worlds full of realism? This combination of technology and art has given us the possibility to see our ideas in motion. The only limit is our imagination.